Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about X-Men issues 18 and 19 written by Terry Kavanagh. Both issues are tie-ins into the Onslaught crossover. But both of these issues are pretty important for the development of X-Men as a character, because it's the first time he crosses paths with the Mr. Sinister of the 616 universe. Just in case for those who don't know, X-Men was a creation of the Mr. Sinister of the Age of Apocalypse. So without further ado, let's get into this. This issue actually starts off with X-Men who's hanging out with the members of X-Force. They're at the X-Mansion after Onslaught's first attack on the X-Men. They're actually trying to find Cable's secret stockpile of weapons. They're really hoping that these weapons could give him an upper hand against Onslaught, because he has countermeasures against the powers of every single member of the X-Men. And probably by extension, the members of X-Force too. The thing is that X-Men is sort of uneasy being with the members of X-Force because he knows a couple of these characters from the Age of Apocalypse. And here I feel like there's a big wasted opportunity. He only interacts very, very briefly with Domino, who killed a bunch of his friends during the Age of Apocalypse. And X-Men actually had left the Age of Apocalypse Domino brain dead. But there's no mention about Siren, who was like X-Men's best friend during the Age of Apocalypse. This would have been super cool to see X-Men trying to reconnect with a friend, even though the 616 Siren has no idea who he is. Also, X-Men recognizes Caliban, who was part of Domino's task force during the Age of Apocalypse. But basically, we get a couple of throwaway lines, and that's it. Then the story actually cuts to Mr. Sinister, who has discovered that Apocalypse has reawakened. Also, during this time, Mr. Sinister was totally aware of the existence of X-Men. He was keeping tabs on him through a female character called Thernoidy, who he has sent the Marauders to hunt her down, because he has the key information to be able to take down X-Men, because Mr. Sinister is going to take advantage of this whole situation with the Onslaught. He's going to move in and try to capture X-Men. Nate Gray is his dream come true, the creation that he had always wanted. He is not compromised by the techno-organic virus like Cable was. And he wastes no time, because once he gets what he wanted from Thernoidy, he goes to the X-Mansion, easily defeats X-Force, and captures X-Man. It's super interesting to see that the 616 version of Mr. Sinister is smarter than his Age of Apocalypse counterpart. He's able to counter every single one of X-Men's powers. While the Age of Apocalypse Mr. Sinister was killed by Nate pretty quickly, he really did his homework, and he actually peeks into Nate Gray's mind and discovers the existence of the Age of Apocalypse. He was delightfully surprised that he was actually the creator of Nate Gray in that reality. And what happens after we get the big villain monologue from Mr. Sinister, who tries to convince Nate Gray that they should work together, that he doesn't really want to force him into being his weapon. Franklin Richards, who had been captured by Onslaught, starts reaching out to any telepath that can hear him. X-Man actually heeds his call, but when he moves in to save the kid, it's a trap from Onslaught, who captures X-Man. Mr. Sinister actually tries to warn X-Man. He realizes that this whole situation was a trap. But it's a pretty interesting testament to how powerful Mr. Sinister is in the first place. As a telepath, he's a pretty heavy hitter.